What's up, guys? What's going on, man? I'm Paul. This is Pauline Theology's daily devotional, and we're going through the book of Genesis. We're with Trust in Jesus Ministries. Glad you're here. Glad you're listening. It's a new week as we continue to study in Genesis, the Joseph saga. Now we've got Joseph presenting his brothers. We saw that before Pharaoh. Now we're going to have his father be presented before Pharaoh. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go ahead, read, see what it has to do. 47, 7 through 12. Stop the tape, check it out, read it, and then come back and we'll answer the 4 questions. If you've already read, then let's go ahead and dive on into it. So the first question is, what's going on? What's happening in the narrative? And just like I said before, Joseph is presenting his father before Pharaoh. And as he does so, Jacob blesses Pharaoh. And as he blesses Pharaoh, he asks a question, and probably the reason why I asked this question is because that Jacob has the audacity to bless Pharaoh. Well, it's because he's old, man, and in that time, the elderly were considered wise and of high status. It's quite different, it seems like, from the world today. In some cases, people want to take the elderly out because it seems like all they're doing is soaking up resources. But that's not how it was then, man. And we see that in the fact that he brings chariots. He said, bring your father. And he gives them chariots, wagons, to be able to, wagons, not chariots, to be able to bring their father up, to lift him up into the wagon and bring him up. So there was a high regard for elderly and the years that they had. And so when he blesses him, he asks him, how old are you, man? And he says, 130, my sojourn is 130 years. He says, and they were short and hard, short and tough. And then he says, and I didn't attain the days that my fathers did before me. And then he blessed Pharaoh again, and he left. That's pretty unique what this brother says. Jacob says that his sojourning. So he's considering this not his home, like his place of residence. And I think Hebrews talks about that a little bit. It says that they were recognizing that their home was somewhere else and not here. And then he also says that it was short, 130 years. You know what I'm saying? Dang, now we'd be like, that's old, bro. But it says that it's short. The time is short. And it was, and he also says that not only short, but difficult, hard, evil. And it's because of the things that he has gone through and had to do in his life. And he's gone through a bunch, man. Just think back on all of the things that we've talked about in regards to Jacob's life, the actions he had with his brother, the actions that he had with his uncle, the actions that he had with God and wrestling with him, and then the action he had with his son. It's like from the womb, it says that he struggled coming out, and it's just gone on and on and on. And so he's had a difficult life. He says it was short and difficult. And then after he left before him, it says it goes back and it just talks about how Joseph takes care of his family. They go to the land of Goshen and they stay there. And Joseph provides for them, all of his family. So what does this say about God? Well, first off, it says that he provides. The provisions that they needed to survive, that they weren't going to be able to get in Canaan, was given to them by going to Goshen, by Pharaoh allowing them to come up to the land and presenting it to them, the best of the land, because it says they live in the best of the land. Then Joseph just taking care of them by means of God placing them in that position. And so God is providing for the family of Israel, and that they can survive during this harsh time, so that the promise of the seed can continue. And that's the big idea of all of this, is God is trustworthy to fulfill his promises to save the entire universe. And that's what he does in providing for Israel here. It also says he's trustworthy, that he keeps his word. And he said earlier, we read that it says, go up to Egypt because I'm going to go with you. I will be with you and I will provide for you. And Joseph will close your eyes, man, and you'll be brought back to your land. And that's going to happen. And the provision is happening. He's seeing his son, whom he's not seen in over 13 years, and presumed dead, but not sure. And so all of these things that God has said is going to come to pass are coming to pass, for God is trustworthy. What's to say about man? Well, I think we should have the mindset that this life is temporary, that this is just a passing by on our as a sojourn, like Jacob says, for the life in eternity. That there's something beyond this, and our time here is only measured in minimal, small things. And so Paul says, man, these are light and momentary afflictions. And so Jacob is kind of like a picture of this, where he has been living in such, of a turmoil of a life, but it has changed him to recognize and trust in God as he sojourns through this plane of existence. So I think that's something for man to do. And then I also think that it's good for us to recognize that faithfulness doesn't mean easiness, that it ain't easy to live a life of faithfulness. Matter of fact, it's hard. Jesus says that a hard and few that go by it, that live this life of faithfulness. And so in our lives in faithfulness, man, don't think that it's going to be roses and whatever they say about roses and easy living. But it'll be difficult and it will be tough. But it is worth it. It's worth it. How can we apply these truths to our lives? Well, I think we should realize both that God's going to provide for us in this place. So even when it does get difficult and hard and tough, and it seems like the whole world is weighing down on us, God will be taking care of us if we are faithful. If we live faithful lives to his promises and then trust in him, then despite the difficultness of the situation in this sojourn, as we walk through this life, we will be provided for. But then remember that it is only a short time. And so the difficult things that we have here are not going to be compared to the splendor and the wonder that it's going to be when we're back in the restoration of the entire universe. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for listening, man, and I will see you guys in the next episode.